What is going on, guys? My name is Sena and welcome back to another video. In the past, I have made a sensitivity guide and settings guides for you guys, but one highly requested guide that I still have yet to make is a crosshair guide. A lot of people are out there struggling to pick a crosshair that they like, so in this video, I'm gonna hopefully try to make it just a little bit easier for you guys to figure out what crosshair best suits you. Right before we jump into the video though, guys, I want to take a moment to thank Valorant Tracker for sponsoring this video. Valorant Tracker is the most popular all-in-one companion tool for tracking your stats and performance in Valorant. Valorant Tracker has a huge range of features and tools to help you improve. Do you want to check your own stats and see what areas you're lacking in? Valorant Tracker has you covered. You can view all of your KD ratios, headshot percentages, agent KDs and win rates, map win rates, and so much more. Is there another player in your game that's popping off? You can click the live match button in the Valorant Tracker overlay and get a detailed look at all of the players in your match. Do you want to learn lineups or just simple tips and tricks that you can do with a specific agent? Click on the Guides tab and access a massive library of lineups and tricks with every single agent in the game. Oh, did I also mention that Valorant Tracker is completely free to download and use? You don't need to pay a single penny to access the best tool for improving at Valorant. So what are you waiting for? Go down in the description or in the pinned comment and download Valorant Tracker today. Thank you again to Valorant Tracker for sponsoring this video, and with all of that being said, guys, let's get right back into the video. This will also be my last video before we hit 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. So if you guys could do me a big favor, go down below and hit that subscribe button, be greatly appreciated. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get into the guide. Now, the thing that you guys need to understand about crosshairs in Valorant is that they are very much personal preference. There is no such thing as a best crosshair or one crosshair that will make every player the best. Similarly to how sensitivity works, it's very personal preference, and you need to figure out which one suits you the best. Please also keep in mind that this video is completely my opinion. I'm going to be going over some beginner crosshairs, intermediate crosshairs, and advanced crosshairs, and talking about the difference between them and why I think that they're better for each skill level. This does not mean a beginner should not use one of the other crosshairs. This is just simply a rough outline to help you guys out. In my experience, there are three main factors that affect what crosshair you use. The first of which being the map that you're playing on. Some players will actually have a different crosshair for each map. I personally don't do this, but some maps like Icebox can be really hard to see certain crosshair colors like white or cyan. The second factor is your enemy outline color. If you're using red enemy outlines, it might be a little bit harder to use a red crosshair because it'd blend in with the enemy a little bit more. Same goes for yellow as well. And the third factor, which is obviously personal preference. Let's start off by talking about the beginner category of crosshairs. I classify this section as people who are new to FPS games and have no previous experience in any other PC FPS game or TAC FPS game. For these people, it might be easier to improve by using a bigger crosshair and a dynamic crosshair. What I mean by dynamic is using movement and firing error. What movement error is there'll be these dots around your crosshair and they'll expand when your shot is not accurate and close in and become stable when your shot is accurate. Same thing goes for firing error. It's basically the same thing, except when you're firing and your spray becomes unpredictable, the dots will go further apart and then come back together. I'll show a clip on screen of me doing this just to show you guys what it looks like. I think this could be a really good tool for teaching new players how the movement and firing affects accuracy in Valorant. Another useful tool in the crosshair settings is fade crosshair with firing error. This is very similar to firing error, except it's a little bit more subtle. Basically what this does is it makes it so that the top piece of your crosshair fades out as your gun becomes more and more inaccurate. This can be used as a really good indicator to let yourself know when you need to stop spraying. In the range, you could actually use this as a tool to practice bursting and keeping your gun accurate. Again, if you're a beginner and new to the game, this could be a very useful useful tool for you. I'd recommend picking a big crosshair, as obviously big crosshairs are easier to see. This crosshair doesn't have to be massive, but I definitely do think it helps having a larger crosshair when you're starting out, just so you can start getting used to where the center of your screen is. I would not recommend using the default crosshair. I think the default crosshair looks pretty terrible, and I'd recommend making your own. 1522 and 1520 are both pretty nice, slightly larger crosshairs. They aren't huge, obviously, but they're pretty nice, and I'd recommend using those. Moving on from this, let's talk about some intermediate and slightly more advanced crosshairs. I'd classify intermediate as having moderate FPS experience, and you understand the fundamentals of the game, but you just have not achieved mastery yet. These are more medium-sized crosshairs, some of which are 1422, which is the tens crosshair, 1520, which I also mentioned in the beginner crosshairs, and 1213, which is Asuna's crosshair. My everyday crosshair that I use is 1422, which is Tenz's crosshair. I think it's really nice. I've been using it since beta. I like these crosshairs because they're not too small, but at the same time, they aren't too big either. You can really get creative with them, and if it's hard to see your crosshair, I'd recommend turning on outlines. This will make it pop out a little bit more against a surface that's difficult to see. I think a good way to practice with your crosshair is to do the prems method with it regularly, and also to do death matches a lot with it as well. Sometimes I'll go in deathmatch and just try out just different crosshairs and just have fun with it. I don't think it's a bad thing to change your crosshair constantly. I do it, and I know a lot of other people do as well. I remember someone asking me that question, so I just wanted to point it out there for you guys. Moving on to the next category. This category I call advanced crosshairs, and these crosshairs are going to be a lot smaller, so they might be harder to see for players who are starting out. These crosshairs include a dot crosshair, dot size 2, which is Tarek's crosshair, 1420, which is Cryo's crosshair. I used to use this one a lot actually, and 1321, which is just another nice crosshair that I used to use. In my opinion, it's a lot harder for newer players to start playing with a really small crosshair because it can be kind of hard to build up that crosshair placement muscle memory with such a small indicator of the center of your screen. Now, remember what I said at the beginning of the video. If you are a beginner, by all means, you can use any of these crosshairs. It's all up to you. This is just what I would recommend if you're struggling to pick a crosshair. And I just gave you guys some example crosshairs. Feel free to mess around with them, turn on outlines, turn off outlines, mess around with the firing error or the fade outline or crosshair sizes, or basically all of it. I think it's good to try out new crosshairs constantly and just figure out what works best for you. I've changed my crosshair a million times during my Valorant experience, and I've still yet to find the best crosshair. Right now, I've just been sticking to 1422. It's been really nice and working well for me. I've used every crosshair that I mentioned in this video, and I like all of them, so I'd recommend just going out, giving them a try, and seeing what you think about them. Anyways, guys, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. It's kind of hard to make a crosshair guide because of how personal preference it really is. I tried to give a rough outline for those of you who might be starting out and struggling to pick a crosshair, or some of those who just feel stuck. Remember to never stop trying new things, and eventually you will find that crosshair that you really like and stick with. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy this video or found it useful, don't forget to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. We're super close to 100K. You guys are the best. I really can't thank you guys enough for all of the support you've been showing me on this channel. You guys are the best, and I wish nothing but the best for each and every one of you. Never stop chasing your goals and dreams, and never give up. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day or night to watch this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.